very important in terms of human rights compliance. Number two is on the issue of VAT on fuel, where it has been moved from 8% to 16%, where under the recommendation of IMF, we have been able to remove fuel subsidy. If you have been following Senate proceedings, I did raise through the Energy Committee a couple of weeks ago into investigating what happened to fuel subsidy. Because as we talk, Sports Fund gave...
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, this is Kenya Revolutionary. Now, I just want to talk about something real brief, and this video will be short, as you know. I want to talk to you about the goal of these bipartisan talks. Why do we always have some kind of arrangement between the ruling party, the government, the ruling party, and the opposition? Why do we always have this nusumkati, handshake, or this nonsense, okay? I'll tell you why. And before I do that, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, comment. Tell me what you think, okay? We always ask ourselves, why do we have the people who are at the top, the people we vote for, some of them we don't even vote for, they impose themselves on us or rig themselves in. Why do they always seem to have the same agenda as the ruling party, as the government? Of course, when we got independence, Kenyatta won, Jomo, he made sure he destroyed any opposition and he ruled unopposed until up to Moi's time, okay, where he did the same thing for 24 years. And of course, in 92, we had the multi-party movement, but still, Moi was still getting his way. He was still, sabotaging any opposition. So now we have Ruto, who has been, let's move to 2023 real quick. No, let's go to Kenyatta, okay? No, not even Kenyatta. Let's go to Kibaki. Let's go step by step. Kibaki, right? 2007, Kibaki lost. He got into the handshake with Raila. He continued with his agenda. Then came Ruto and Kenyatta. Kenyatta did the same thing. Was going unopposed. 2017, he lost. Co-opted Mr. Raila with his the opposition. So there was no opposition from 2017 to 2023. 2023, we see the same thing. Raila lost. Basically made a deal with Ruto. And these guys are almost... let me tell you something about these guys, okay? They probably made this deal even before the elections. I know, that sounds wild, right? Yes, they have. They did. This whole shenanigans, the mandamanos, the back and forth between Gachagua and Raila, the childish name-calling, okay, chest thumping, okay? This is all to fool the public. These guys, there's only one ruling party in Kenya. I can't stress this enough. There's only one ruling party in Kenya. And that party is the political elites. Okay? Our watu ambao have power, the Uhuru, Raila, Ruto, okay? These Moi family people. Okay? And they recruit the famous tribal chiefs from every section of the country to be part of them so they can carry out their agenda. The main agenda is brought to them by the West. Okay? That's why in my previous live I mentioned that in 2017 when they had this one force, one man, Miguna, who was threatening these political elites of all the people who are opposing Kenyatta. Miguna was the only one who was jailed and forcefully removed from the country for at least 5 years. And as I mentioned also, when he came down back, after Ruto came to power, you see he's not going as hard on the government as he did with the previous governments, because he understands that Ruto kind of did him, he did something that Ruto did not have to do that, especially given the fact that Miguna was really used to criticize Ruto before. But when Ruto, made sure that the court orders were respected and, in effect, brought back Miguna's, it's kind of unspoken rule. This guy brought you back, helped you, bring you back to Kenya. It will be not advisable to start talking shit about him because he got you back in the country. It's understandable. That's why Miguna is not going hard on Ruto. Okay, I understand that. But still, that does not negate from the fact that Ruto is part of this political elite. So, what's the agenda with this whole nonsensical talks that we're having, bipartisan talks? The whole point is this. What these colonial masters always wanted to maintain is ignorance. They do not want, number one, they want to maintain, they want you to be economically sabotaged. They don't want Africa to rise economically. Because if you're self-sustained, if you can sustain yourself by the minerals and riches that Africa has, they'll be independent and then actually threaten the power of these colonial masters. Think about it. Let's take an example of, even Kenya. If Kenya becomes truly independent and the Kenyan citizens are truly empowered economically, we shall seek better technology, higher education, and when you have money in your pockets and you're well educated and you're well aware, okay, of how things work, how the system works, it will be very hard to take advantage of you if I'm a colonial master. You actually become a threat. So what they do is, and as I mentioned, what they do is they choose a bunch of compromised leaders from your bunch, okay? And they're very strategic. They use leaders from every community, prop them up, give them power, and these guys lord over you on the behalf of the colonial masters. Ruto is not the exception. He is part and parcel of this colonial puppet gang, along with Raila and Kenyatta. That's why you see when they're stooges, they're useful idiots like the Babu Owinos, when they get into trouble, they shoot people on camera, and when they get into trouble, taken to court, they will never be charged because they are part of the ruling political elite. We know the Uhuru Kenyatta government, the Moi government, the Kenyatta One government, the Kibaki government was corrupt. These people committed atrocities. They should be in jail for not only misappropriating public funds, among other things, gross violation of human rights, among other things. Ruto cannot jail them. He cannot jail Mama Ngina. He cannot jail Uhuru Kenyatta. He cannot jail Muhoho Kenyatta. He cannot jail Raila Odinga. He cannot jail Kibaki government. He cannot jail Matiang'i. He cannot jail Oparanya. He cannot jail Ababu Namwamba. Because they belong to the same political party. Their role is to lord over you. While they do that, they loot billions and trillions of Kenyan shillings that the wananchi, the taxpayers, are paying through their hard work. Okay? And play politics to mess with your emotions, to divide you guys up. So you look at your partner as, oh, those people from Western Province, oh, those people from Nyanza Province, oh, those people from Central, oh, those people from, I don't know what, Rift Valley. You're always divided because that's their job. And since economically you're not well off, you cannot fend for yourself, you cannot protect yourself, you're not well educated, you're not well exposed, you look at them as heroes. When they come, unapiga makofi. You clap at them. Hey, this is our person, this is our person. That's why you say when you see Oparanya has been arrested, or when Matiang'i was being arrested, oh, the community comes out and hey, they are targeting our community, they're targeting our community. While these guys are truly corrupt. But that's how it is. So the agenda is to keep you poor economically, to keep you ignorant, have low quality education, to keep you unemployed, and the production that your country produces goes to the West. That's what they call their interests. They do whatever they want in this country. Okay? They make profit off you. They give you these huge loans, billions and trillions of dollars. And guess these people who approve these loans are the same political class, members of the high elite political class that approve these loans illegally, actually, because they don't do it through the parliament, they know better. They illegally acquire this. And guess who they make pay for it? While they are the one who will squander it. They'll squander those loans. The wananchi shall pay for it. In fact, they have the audacity to raise the taxes through the illegal finance bill and have you pay heavy taxes, high taxes, from the money that you had earned. So again, the agenda, if you look at it, even the agenda that they're talking about, look at them. They're creating new positions for themselves to give each other positions for their friends and girlfriends and all that. Illegal, outside of the Constitution. That's how they pay each other. Okay? That's how they reward each other. But the main goal is, while they extrapolate all these resources, the West use these colonial stooges, the Raila Odingas, the William Rutos, the Uhuru Kenyatas, through the Babu Owinos, the James Orengos, the Kimani Ichung'was, the Kalonzo Musyokas, to do their bidding, divide the people, keep them poor, keep them ignorant, while we make them produce more and take it to our country. These private companies, enrich these private companies, bribe these politicians like the Martha Karuas, the way she was bribed by that British tobacco company. That way we maintain control. That's why I say we should look at West Africa as a way to go. That is the real agenda of this bipartisan nonsensical talks led by Kimani Ichung'wa and Kalonzo Musyoka. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, if you have subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe, like, share, comment. Tell me what you think. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
America, to come to Niger, to fight the people of Niger, because you want to protect interests. Whose interests? American interests. Now, in which ship, in which aeroplane did your interests fly from Washington to Niger, that you must now come here to Niger to protect your interests? Now we know there's no interest here. This is business. This is oil. This is business. This is uranium. This is business. These are our resources, gold. This is business. So the only interest you can be talking about is your business interest. So now you understand, ladies and gentlemen, that African countries are being managed by multinational companies that are in those countries. And these multinational companies stand lots of support from their mother bodies and their countries of origin. McDonald's, KFCs, Coca-Colas, Anglo-Americans, and all these companies that we have out there who are actually not African companies, but international companies. They belong to who? They don't belong to the government of America. No. They don't belong to the government of France. No. These companies are heavily invested with the World Bank, invested with IMF monies that are locked in there, invested with BlackRock, invested with the Oppenheimers, the Rothschild, invested with this cabal. If you think it's a conspiracy, think twice. All your presidents who are not sovereign, they report not to the government, but they report to this body that runs the finances of the world. You could have heard of the New World Order as if it's a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy. There is a meeting place above all governments, where American presidents, where British High Monarch sits on that body, and they all report to this conglomerate of not billionaires, but trillionaires, who own sovereign funds, who own IMF, International Monetary Fund, who own World Bank. And through these financial institutions, they're able to direct whether it is coups, or it is wars, or it is relief, or it is disasters. They give money to the ruling party, they give money to the opposition party, and they play who must we put in power and who do we remove. Playing like ponies right there. And in these big bodies, the multinational companies, and I think it's time now, it's time. We need to start talking politics and take off our gloves off and just say it as it is. Maybe it's time we stop dealing with poodles. We stop dealing with dogs that are running around the yards as if they own the yard. Meanwhile, they're just protecting the yard. Hoof, 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 hoof every night. You see something passing, hoof. So, hoof, you know, Niger is now going to coup, hoof, you know, there's a coup, hoof, and you're making noise. No, we no longer want to deal with the dogs. We want the on